Ethan Caldwell never imagined his life would change the night he was left at the altar, but a chance encounter with Maya Bennett, a hard-working delivery girl, turned his heartbreak into something unexpected. As their worlds collide, can love bridge the gap between them? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The grand ballroom of the Biltmore Hotel was decorated with thousands of white roses and crystal chandeliers that sparkled like diamonds. Nearly 300 guests filled the space, dressed in their finest attire, sipping champagne and whispering excitedly. This was supposed to be the wedding of the year. Ethan Caldwell, one of the city's most successful real estate developers, was marrying Victoria Hamilton, daughter of banking mogul Richard Hamilton. Ethan stood at the altar, checking his watch for the third time. Victoria was now 45 minutes late. His best friend and best man James gave him a reassuring pat on the shoulder. "You know how brides are," James whispered. "They like to make an entrance." But Ethan felt something was wrong. Victoria had been acting strange for weeks, cancelling dinner plans and avoiding his calls. He chalked it up to pre-wedding jitters, but now, as the murmurs from the guests grew louder, a sickening feeling settled in his stomach. His phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a text from Victoria's maid of honor. "I'm sorry, Ethan, she's not coming." The words hit him like a physical blow. Ethan read the message 3 times before the reality sank in. His fiancée had left him at the altar. James noticed the change in Ethan's expression. "What is it?" Unable to speak, Ethan simply handed him the other phone. James's face fell as he read the message. "I'll handle this," James said, squeezing Ethan's shoulder. "You go, take my car keys." Ethan barely registered the commotion as James announced to the crowd that the wedding would not be taking place. He didn't hear the gasps or see the pitying looks as he walked down the aisle alone, his eyes fixed on the exit. All he could think about was getting out of there before he completely fell apart. Once outside, the cool evening air hit his face. Dark clouds gathered overhead, threatening rain. Ethan loosened his bow tie and got into James's car, not knowing where to go. He couldn't face going back to the penthouse he'd shared with Victoria. He couldn't bear to see the wedding gifts and her things still scattered around. He drove aimlessly through the city streets as raindrops began to fall. The weather matched his mood, dark and turbulent. His phone kept ringing, probably friends and family checking on him, but he ignored it. After an hour of driving, Ethan found himself in a part of town he rarely visited. It was a working-class neighborhood with small restaurants and apartment buildings. The rain was now coming down in sheets, and visibility was poor. He pulled over, killing the engine. He sat in silence, watching the rain pound against the windshield, feeling utterly lost. His stomach growled, reminding him that he hadn't eaten all day. He'd been too nervous about the wedding. Now hunger competed with his heartbreak. Across the street was a small diner with a neon sign that read, "Joe's." Ethan decided he might as well get something to eat. At least there, no one would know him or what had just happened. As he stepped out of the car, the rain immediately soaked through his expensive tuxedo. He didn't bother running for cover. What was the point? He was already ruined in every other way. On the opposite side of the street, Maya Bennett was having the worst shift of her life. The rain had started just as she began her evening deliveries for Tasty Bites, the local restaurant where she worked. Her scooter had gotten a flat tire, and now she was making deliveries on foot, trying to keep the paper bags from getting soaked under her small umbrella. 3 more deliveries, she muttered to herself, checking the addresses on her phone. Then I can go home, take a hot shower, and forget this day ever happened. She was so focused on protecting the food bags that she didn't notice the man in the soaking wet tuxedo until she collided with him. The impact sent them both stumbling, and the food bags tumbled to the wet sidewalk. "Oh no," Maya cried, dropping to her knees to salvage what she could. "I'm so sorry. I wasn't looking where—" She looked up and stopped mid-sentence. The man before her looked absolutely devastated. His expensive tuxedo was ruined by the rain, his dark hair plastered to his forehead. But it was his eyes that caught her attention. They held a pain that went beyond just getting bumped on a rainy street. "Are you okay?" she asked, forgetting momentarily about the spilled food. Ethan stared at the woman kneeling on the wet sidewalk. She was young, probably in her late 20s, with warm brown eyes and dark curly hair escaping from under a delivery company cap. She wore a simple red jacket with tasty bites embroidered on the pocket. "I'm fine," he said automatically, though it was the furthest thing from the truth. He knelt down to help her pick up the scattered food containers. "I should be asking you that. I ruined your deliveries." Maya looked at the mess of food containers, some of which had broken open, spilling their contents onto the sidewalk. "Well, I guess Mrs. Abernathy won't be getting her chicken parmesan tonight." To his own surprise, Ethan let out a short laugh. It sounded strange to his ears after the day he'd had. "I'm really sorry. I'll pay for everything, of course." Maya stood up, clutching the salvageable bags. "Don't worry about it. These things happen." She studied him more closely. "Though people in tuxedos don't usually happen in this neighborhood, especially not people standing in the rain like they want to catch pneumonia." Ethan realized how odd he must look. A man in formal wear, soaking wet, with no umbrella or apparent destination. "It's been a rough day." Maya's expression softened. She glanced at his left hand, noticing there was no ring. "Rough day at a wedding?" "You could say that," Ethan replied, not wanting to explain that he was the groom who'd been left at the altar. Maya made a quick decision. She handed him her umbrella. "Here, take this, and look, there's a diner right there. Joe makes the best coffee in town. It might help with that rough day." Ethan was taken aback by the kind gesture from a complete stranger. "But what about you?" "And your deliveries?" Maya shrugged. "I'm already wet, and I've only got 2 more stops. Both are regulars who tip well. They'll understand about the accident." She smiled at him, a warm, genuine smile that reached her eyes. "Seriously, go get some coffee. You look like you need it more than I need an umbrella." Before Ethan could protest further, she rearranged the remaining bags in her arms and hurried off down the street, already getting soaked by the rain. Ethan stood there holding her umbrella, watching her disappear around the corner. He couldn't remember the last time someone had shown him kindness without wanting something in return. In his world of high-powered business deals and social climbing, every action had an agenda. But this delivery woman had given him her only protection from the rain without hesitation. Following her suggestion, he crossed the street to Joe's diner. The bell over the door jingled as he entered, and a few patrons looked up briefly before returning to their meals. No one seemed to care that he was wearing a wet tuxedo. It was refreshing to be somewhere he wasn't recognized. He slid into a booth by the window, set the borrowed umbrella aside, and ordered coffee from a waitress named Dot. As he warmed his hands around the mug, he found himself thinking about the delivery woman. He hadn't even asked her name. 2 days later, Maya was sorting delivery orders at Tasty Bites when her boss, Tony, called her over. "Hey, Maya, got a special delivery for you. Some fancy address uptown." Maya frowned, looking at the order slip. "That's outside our usual delivery zone," Tony shrugged. "Guy offered an extra $50 for delivery. Said he specifically wanted you to bring it." "Me?" Maya was confused. "Did they leave a name?" "Ethan something. Said you'd know who it was." Maya tried to place the name, then remembered the man in the tuxedo from a few nights ago. "Tall guy? Dark hair? Looks like he models suits when he's not getting drenched in the rain." Tony laughed. "Didn't meet him, just took the order over the phone. But he did sound like one of those smooth-talking uptown types." Curiosity got the better of Maya. After loading the order onto her scooter, which now had a new tire, she headed to the address, a luxury high-rise in the wealthiest part of the city. The doorman eyed her suspiciously until she mentioned Ethan's name, then directed her to the penthouse. Maya's stomach fluttered with nerves as she rode the private elevator. What kind of man lived in a place like this? And why had he asked for her specifically? When the elevator doors opened directly into a massive penthouse apartment, Maya gasped. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city. The furnishings were sleek and modern, obviously expensive. "Hello," she called out, stepping hesitantly into the space. Ethan appeared from what looked like a home office, dressed in a casual but clearly designer button-up shirt and slacks. He smiled when he saw her, and Maya was struck by how different he looked when he wasn't soaking wet and miserable. "You came," he said, sounding genuinely pleased. "I wasn't sure if you'd be the one to deliver it." Maya held up the food bag. 1. Order of chicken parmesan. Seemed appropriate considering what happened to Mrs. Abernathy's dinner the other night. Ethan laughed, a warm sound that transformed his face. I still have your umbrella. That's actually why I ordered. I wanted to return it and thank you properly. He retrieved the umbrella from a closet and handed it to her, along with an envelope. What's this? Maya asked. To cover the cost of the ruined food and deliveries, and a thank you for your kindness. It meant more than you know. Maya took the umbrella but hesitated at the envelope. The food wasn't that expensive and the company covered it anyway. Please, Ethan insisted. It's the least I can do. Reluctantly, Maya took the envelope and tucked it into her jacket pocket. An awkward silence fell between them. So, Maya said finally, did things get better after that rough day? Ethan's expression clouded slightly. Not really. But the coffee at Joe's did help. Maya smiled. Told you. Would you like to stay for a coffee now? Ethan asked suddenly. I make a pretty decent cup myself. Maya should have said no. She had other deliveries to make. This man was clearly from a different world than hers, but something in his eyes, a lingering sadness, a loneliness she recognized, made her nod. I have 20 minutes before my next delivery, she said. Ethan's smile returned, brighter than before. 20 minutes is a start. As he led her to the kitchen, neither of them realized that those 20 minutes would be the beginning of something that would change both their lives forever. 2 weeks had passed since Maya's first visit to Ethan's penthouse. What had started as a 20-minute coffee break had somehow turned into a regular occurrence. Ethan kept ordering from Tasty Bites, always requesting Maya as his delivery person. Each time he invited her to stay for coffee, and their conversations grew longer. Maya learned that Ethan owned Caldwell Development, one of the city's most successful real estate companies. He was in the middle of building a new luxury hotel downtown, a project that kept him busy day and night. But he never talked much about his personal life, and Maya didn't pry. Today, Maya was running late for her shift at Tasty Bites. She rushed into the restaurant, tying her apron as she entered. You're 15 minutes late, Bennett, Tony said, though his tone wasn't angry. He'd always had a soft spot for Maya, who was his most reliable employee. Sorry, Tony. My sister's kid was sick and I had to drop her at the doctor before coming in. Tony nodded, understanding. He knew Maya helped take care of her sister's children whenever she could. It's fine, but heads up. Your favorite customer called again. Wants a delivery at 7. Maya felt her cheeks flush. He's not my favorite. Customer? Tony grinned knowingly. Sure, that's why you fix your hair every time you deliver to him. I do not, Maya protested, though she knew it was true. She couldn't help wanting to look nice around Ethan. There was something about him that made her heart beat faster, even though she knew someone like him would never seriously be interested in someone like her. At 7 o'clock sharp, Maya arrived at Ethan's building. By now the doorman knew her by name and waved her straight through to the private elevator. When the doors opened to the penthouse, she was surprised to find the lights dimmed and the dining table set with candles and fine china. Ethan? She called out, confused. He appeared from the kitchen wearing an apron over his expensive clothes. Perfect timing. I hope you don't mind, but I didn't actually order food from Tasty Bites tonight. Maya looked at the empty delivery bag in her hand. What do you mean? I asked Tony to send you anyway. I wanted to cook for you myself. He gestured to the kitchen, where delicious smells were coming from. I thought you might be tired of delivering food and never getting to enjoy a proper meal yourself. Maya was speechless. No one had ever gone to such trouble for her before. You can cook? Was all she managed to say. Ethan laughed. Don't sound so surprised. I lived alone through college before I could afford a personal chef. I'm not a master, but I can handle pasta carbonara. Maya's stomach growled at the mention of food, making them both laugh. I guess that's a yes to dinner? Ethan asked. Maya nodded, setting down her delivery bag and taking off her Tasty Bites cap. She suddenly felt underdressed in her work uniform, especially in Ethan's elegant apartment. Sensing her discomfort, Ethan said, I'm sorry for the surprise. I should have just asked you to dinner properly. No, it's nice, Maya assured him. I'm just not used to all this. She gestured to the fancy table setting. Too much? Ethan asked, looking genuinely concerned. Maybe a little, Maya admitted. I'm more of a pizza on the couch kind of girl. Ethan immediately began gathering up the fine china and crystal glasses. Pizza on the couch it is, then. Wait, what are you doing? You went to all this trouble. And now I'm untroubling it, Ethan said with a smile. I want you to be comfortable, Maya. That's more important than any fancy dinner setting. 20 minutes later, they were sitting on his plush sofa, eating pasta carbonara from regular plates and drinking wine from simple glasses. Maya had never felt so relaxed in his apartment before. This is really good, she said, savoring the creamy pasta. Where did you learn to cook like this? My grandmother, Ethan replied. She believed every man should know how to make at least one impressive meal. Smart woman. She was, Ethan agreed, a fond smile on his face. She raised me after my parents died. Car accident when I was 10. Maya's heart ached for him. I'm sorry. That must have been hard. Ethan nodded. It was. But my grandmother was amazing. Worked 2 jobs to put me through college. Everything I have now I owe to her. Is she still... Maya trailed off. She passed away 5 years ago, Ethan said softly. Heart attack. I'd just bought this place, was going to move her in with me so she could finally retire in comfort. Maya reached out and squeezed his hand. She'd be proud of you. I hope so, Ethan said. Then, as if catching himself being too vulnerable, he quickly changed the subject. What about your family? Maya took a sip of wine before answering. It's just me, my sister Lisa, and her 2 kids. Our parents moved to Florida after retirement. They send postcards of their beach walks while we freeze through winter here. She laughed, but there was a hint of sadness in it. Lisa's husband left her 2 years ago, so I help out with the kids whenever I can. That's why you were late today. Maya looked surprised. How did you know I was late? Tony mentioned it when I called. Said you were helping your sister. My nephew had an ear infection. Lisa couldn't miss work again or she might lose her job, so I took him to the doctor. Ethan studied her face. You're a good person, Maya Bennett. I'm just doing what family does, she said with a shrug. Not everyone would, Ethan replied. Trust me, I know plenty of people who wouldn't inconvenience themselves for anyone, family or not. An image of Victoria flashed in his mind, how she'd always been too busy with her social calendar to meet his grandmother during her final years. He pushed the thought away. After dinner, they moved to the balcony with their wine glasses. The city lights sparkled below them like earthbound stars. It's beautiful up here, Maya said, gazing out at the view. So different from my neighborhood. Where? Do you live? Ethan asked, realizing he'd never asked before. West Side District, small apartment above a laundromat. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. I'd like to see it sometime, Ethan said. Maya laughed. Right. I'm sure you'd love my collection of mismatched furniture and the constant smell of fabric softener from downstairs. I'm serious, Ethan insisted. I want to see your world, Maya. The sincerity in his voice made her heart skip a beat, but a warning voice in her head reminded her not to get too attached. Men like Ethan didn't end up with women like her. This was probably just a temporary distraction for him, a novelty that would wear off. It's getting late, she said, finishing her wine. I should go. Ethan looked disappointed but didn't press the issue. I'll call you a car. I can take the subway, Maya protested. It's past midnight. Please, let me make sure you get home safely. 2. Tired to argue, Maya agreed. As they waited for the car to arrive, an awkward silence fell between them. Thank you for dinner, Maya finally said. It was really nice. We should do it again, Ethan suggested. Maybe next time you could choose the place. Maya hesitated. Being here in his penthouse was one thing, they were isolated from the outside world, but being seen in public with him was different. I don't know, Ethan. What's wrong? He asked, looking genuinely confused. Maya sighed. Look, you're you, and I'm me. We come from different worlds. I don't care about that, Ethan said firmly. Maybe you don't, but everyone else will, Maya replied. I've seen enough movies to know how this ends. The rich guy has his fun with the working class girl, then eventually goes back to dating socialites who know which fork to use at fancy restaurants. Ethan's expression hardened. Is that what you think this is? Me having fun with you? I don't know what this is, Maya admitted. That's the problem. Before Ethan could respond, his phone buzzed with a notification that the car had arrived. We're not done with this conversation, he said as they rode the elevator down. Outside, a sleek, black car waited at the curb. Ethan opened the door for Maya. I'll call you tomorrow, he promised. Maya nodded, not trusting herself to speak. As the car pulled away from the curb, she looked back to see Ethan still standing there, watching her go. The next morning, Maya was sorting through deliveries at Tasty Bites when Tony called her into his office. What's up? She asked, noticing his serious expression. He handed her a tabloid magazine. You might want to see this. On the cover was a blurry photo of Maya leaving Ethan's building the night before. The headline read, "Jilted Billionaires. New delivery girl fling." Maya's blood ran cold as she flipped to the article inside. There were more photos, her entering Ethan's building on different days, always in her Tasty Bites uniform. The article was worse than the photos. It described how Ethan Caldwell, still nursing his wounds after being left at the altar by socialite Victoria Hamilton, had been seeking comfort with an unknown delivery girl. It speculated about whether Maya was a rebound fling, or if Ethan was slumming it to spite his ex. Left at the altar, Maya whispered, the pieces finally clicking into place. That explained the tuxedo in the rain, his reluctance to talk about his personal life, the sadness she sometimes caught in his eyes. You didn't know? Tony asked gently. Maya shook her head. He never said anything about it. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. I just saw the tabloid. I'm so sorry, can we talk? Maya didn't respond. Her mind was reeling with this new information. Ethan had been about to get married when she met him. His fiancée had left him at the altar, and now the press was painting Maya as some kind of a rebound fling. Take the day off, Tony suggested. This will blow over. But Maya knew better. Things like this didn't just blow over in the real world. Her phone was already filling with texts from friends who'd seen the tabloid. Even her sister had called, demanding to know if she was really dating that rich guy from the news. By the time Maya reached her apartment, there were 2 photographers waiting outside her building. She ducked her head and rushed past them, ignoring their questions about her relationship with Ethan. Once inside her small apartment, she locked the door and slid down against it, finally letting the tears come. She'd been right to be cautious. Getting involved with someone like Ethan Caldwell could only lead to heartbreak. Not just because of their different backgrounds, but because he was clearly still dealing with his own pain. Her phone rang again. Ethan's name flashed on the screen. After a moment's hesitation, she answered. Maya, his voice was filled with concern. Are you okay? I've been trying to reach you. Did you know there are photographers outside my apartment? She asked, her voice tight with anger. I'm so sorry, Ethan said. I never thought they'd follow you home. Well, they did, Maya snapped. And now everyone I know has seen that tabloid calling me your delivery girl fling. There was a pause before Ethan spoke again. I should have told you about Victoria. Yes, you should have, Maya agreed. Finding out from a tabloid that you were left at the altar isn't exactly how I wanted to learn about your past. I wanted to tell you, Ethan insisted. I just didn't know how. I was embarrassed, and then the more time passed, the harder it became to bring it up. Maya wiped away a tear. I understand why you didn't tell me. What I don't understand is what you want from me, Ethan. If you're just looking for someone to help you forget her, that's not it, Ethan interrupted. Maya, you're nothing like Victoria. That's what I love about you. The word love hung in the air between them. You don't even know me, Maya said finally. I know enough, Ethan replied. I know you gave your umbrella to a stranger in the rain. I know you help your sister with her kids, even though you work long hours. I know you remembered Mrs. Abernathy's chicken parmesan. I know you're kind and funny and real in a way no one in my world ever is. Maya closed her eyes, his words washing over her. She wanted to believe him, but fear held her back. I need time. Ethan, she said, this is all happening too fast. I understand, he said, though she could hear the disappointment in his voice. Take all the time you need, but Maya, yes, I'm not giving up on us. Whatever this is between us, it's real. At least it is for me. After they hung up, Maya sat on her small sofa, staring at the tabloid magazine. The woman in those photos looked scared, out of place in Ethan's world. But the truth was, she'd never felt out of place when she was with him, only when she thought about how others saw them. Her phone buzzed with a text from Lisa. Is it true? Are you dating Ethan Caldwell? Maya stared at the message, not knowing how to respond. Was she dating Ethan? Were they just friends? Or was she, as the tabloid suggested, just a distraction for a heartbroken billionaire? She thought about his words. I'm not giving up on us. Despite everything, those words made her heart flutter. But was she brave enough to give them a chance? Or was she setting herself up for an even bigger heartbreak down the road? As rain began to patter against her windows, Maya remembered the night they first met, how a simple act of kindness had connected them. Maybe that connection was worth fighting for, despite the obstacles. With a deep breath, she texted Ethan back, I still have tomorrow off, maybe we could talk then. His response came immediately. Name the time and place, I'll be there. Maya smiled despite herself. Whatever happened next, she knew one thing for certain. Ethan Caldwell was nothing like she'd expected. And maybe that was a good thing. Maya sat nervously at a small table in the back corner of Rosie's Diner, a family-owned restaurant far from both her neighborhood and Ethan's upscale world. She'd chosen this place carefully, neutral territory, where they wouldn't likely be recognized. She checked her watch again. Ethan was 10 minutes late and doubt began to creep in. Maybe he'd changed his mind. Maybe the tabloid drama had made him realize she wasn't worth the trouble. Just as she was considering leaving, the bell above the door jingled, and Ethan walked in. He wore jeans and a simple navy sweater, the most casual she'd ever seen him. His eyes scanned the diner until they found her, and his face lit up with a smile that made her heart skip. Sorry I'm late, he said, sliding into the booth across from her. I had to shake a photographer who was following me. Maya's stomach tightened. They're still after you? It'll die down soon, Ethan assured her. These tabloids always move on to the next scandal. A waitress approached their table and they ordered coffee. When she left, an awkward silence fell between them. I should have told you about Victoria, Ethan finally said. I'm sorry you had to find out that way. Maya nodded, stirring her coffee. What happened, if you don't mind talking about it? Ethan took a deep breath. Victoria and I dated for 2 years. Our families had known each other forever. Both owed money, both with expectations. Getting married seemed like the natural next step. He paused. Looking back, I think I proposed because it was what everyone expected, not because we were truly in love. But she left you at the altar, Maya said softly. Ethan's face darkened at the memory. 300 guests waiting in the church, and she sent a text to her maid of honor saying she couldn't go through with it. No explanation, no goodbye. I found out later she'd been seeing her yoga instructor for months. That's terrible, Maya said, reaching across the table to touch his hand. The worst part wasn't even losing her, Ethan admitted. It was standing there in front of everyone. Family, friends, business associates, feeling like a complete fool. The humiliation was worse than the heartbreak. Is that why you never told me? You were embarrassed, Ethan nodded. At first, yes. And then when we started spending time together, I liked that you didn't know. You were the only person who didn't look at me with pity. You just saw me as a regular guy. I still see you that way, Maya said. Tabloids and all. Ethan's eyes softened. That means more to me than you know. He hesitated. Now it's your turn. Tell me something I don't know about you. Maya thought for a moment. I dropped out of college my junior year when my sister's husband left. She needed help with the kids and we couldn't afford childcare. What were you studying? Graphic design, Maya said with a small smile. I've always loved art, but it's hard to pay the bills with a sketchbook. Do you still draw? Ethan asked. Maya nodded. When I have time, which isn't often between work and helping Lisa. I'd like to see your work sometime, Ethan said. Before Maya could respond, the waitress returned with their food. As they ate, the conversation flowed more easily. They talked about ordinary things, favorite movies, childhood memories, the best pizza in the city. For a little while, Maya forgot about the tabloids and the photographers and the vast differences in their lives. After breakfast, they walked through a nearby park where the trees were just beginning to show their fall colors. Maya was relieved that no one seemed to recognize them here. "What happens now?" she asked as they sat on a bench overlooking a small pond. "What do you want to happen?" Ethan countered. Maya sighed. "I don't know. This whole situation is so complicated. Those photographers outside my apartment, my co-workers seeing me in a tabloid. It's overwhelming." "I understand if it's too much," Ethan said, his voice tight. "The last thing I want to do is make your life harder." "That's not what I meant," Maya said quickly. I need to know what this is, Ethan. Is this just a distraction for you? A way to forget Victoria?" Ethan turned to face her fully. "Maya, look at me. This has nothing to do with Victoria. From the moment you gave me your umbrella in the rain, something changed for me. You showed me kindness when I was at my lowest, without wanting anything in return. That doesn't happen in my world." "And what about our different backgrounds?" Maya pressed. "You live in a penthouse, I live above a laundromat. You run a massive company, I deliver food on a scooter." "None of that matters to me," Ethan insisted. "It might not matter to you now," Maya said. "But what about a month from now, 6 months? What happens when your friends and business associates start asking why you're dating someone like me instead of someone from your social circle?" "Someone like you?" Ethan repeated, his brow furrowing. "You mean someone kind, genuine, and hardworking? Someone who takes care of her family and puts others first? Those are exactly the qualities I want in a partner, Maya." His words made her heart swell, but doubt still lingered. "It won't be easy, Ethan. The best things rarely are," he replied, taking her hand. "All I'm asking is that we give this a chance. We'll take it slow, one day at a time. And if the attention gets to be too much, we'll figure it out together." Maya looked down at their intertwined fingers. His hand was warm and strong around hers, and despite all her reservations, being with him felt right. "Okay," she said softly, "one day at a time." Ethan's face broke into a smile that made her heart flutter. He leaned forward and kissed her gently, a brief touch of his lips against hers that held the promise of much more. When they parted, Maya couldn't help smiling. "So what does one day at a time look like?" "Well," Ethan said, standing and pulling her up with him, "today I thought we might visit that art supply store I saw on the way. Here, I think someone mentioned she likes to draw." Maya laughed, feeling lighter than she had in days. "You don't have to buy me things, you know." "I know," Ethan said, slipping his arm around her waist. "But I want to see you draw. Consider it selfish interest." As they walked toward the art store, Maya leaned into his side, allowing herself to enjoy the moment without worrying about tomorrow. For now, this was enough. The next few weeks passed in a blur of stolen moments and tentative steps forward in their relationship. True to his word, Ethan took things slow, respecting Maya's need for space and privacy. The tabloids eventually lost interest when a celebrity couple announced their divorce, and the photographers disappeared from Maya's apartment building. Ethan began visiting Maya's small apartment above the laundromat, bringing takeout and watching movies on her old TV. To her surprise, he seemed completely at ease in her modest home, even becoming friendly with Mrs. Chen, the elderly woman who owned the laundromat downstairs. Maya, in turn, grew more comfortable in Ethan's world. She met his best friend James, who welcomed her warmly, and she accompanied Ethan to a few casual business dinners, where he proudly introduced her as his girlfriend. One evening, as they were walking back to Ethan's penthouse after dinner, Maya brought up something that had been bothering her. "I still haven't met any of your family," she said. "Do they know about us?" Ethan's step faltered slightly. "I don't have much family left. Just a few cousins and my Aunt Patricia, my grandmother's sister." "And have you told them about me?" Maya pressed. "Not yet," Ethan admitted. "Aunt Patricia can be difficult. She was very close with Victoria's family and she took the wedding disaster pretty hard." Maya tried to hide her disappointment. "I see." Ethan stopped walking and turned to face her. "It's not what you think. I'm not hiding you, Maya. I just wanted to spare you from Aunt Patricia's judgmental nature. She has very specific ideas about who I should be with." "Someone like Victoria," Maya guessed. Yes, Ethan sighed, but I don't care what she thinks. You're the one I want to be with. Before Maya could respond, Ethan's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and frowned. It's James. He never calls this late unless it's important. He answered the call and Maya watched as his expression changed from concern to shock. When? He asked, his voice tight. I'll be right there. He hung up and looked at Maya with wide eyes. Victoria is back. Maya felt like she'd been doused with cold water. What do you mean, back? She showed up at James's place looking for me, Ethan explained. She's been calling all my friends trying to find me. Apparently she wants to talk. After 3 months of silence? Maya asked incredulously. I know. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. James said she seemed desperate. Maya crossed her arms. So what are you going to do? Ethan hesitated only briefly. Nothing. Whatever she wants, it doesn't matter. I have no interest in seeing her. Relief washed over Maya, but it was quickly replaced by uncertainty. Are you sure you were going to marry her, Ethan? That feels like a lifetime ago, he said firmly. I'm with you now. Maya wanted to believe him, but a small voice in her head whispered doubts. What if Victoria's return stirred up old feelings? What if Ethan realized he'd made a mistake in letting her go? You should talk to her, Maya said, surprising herself. What? Why would I do that? Because if you don't, you'll always wonder what she wanted, Maya explained. And I'll always wonder if you're still thinking about her. Ethan stared at her for a long moment. Are you sure? Maya nodded, though her heart was racing. I trust you, Ethan. But you need closure, and maybe this is how you get it. I already have closure, Ethan insisted. The moment I met you. Maya smiled despite her fears. Just talk to her. Find out what she wants, and then we can move forward together. Ethan pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. Have I told you lately how amazing you are? Not in the last hour, Maya teased, trying to lighten the mood. Ethan laughed and kissed her softly. I'll call her tomorrow, hear what she has to say, and that will be the end of it. I promise. But Maya couldn't shake the feeling that Victoria's return would complicate things in ways neither of them could predict. The next morning, Maya was helping her sister get the kids ready for school when her phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. Meeting Victoria for coffee at 10. We'll call you after. Maya stared at the message, a knot forming in her stomach. She typed back a quick good luck before returning to the chaos of breakfast with her niece and nephew. You okay? Lisa asked, noticing her distraction. You look worried. Maya sighed. Ethan's meeting his ex-fiancée today, the one who left him at the altar. Lisa's eyes widened. What does she want? No idea, Maya said, pouring more cereal for her nephew. But she tracked down all his friends trying to find him, so it must be important. Are you worried? Lisa asked. Maya hesitated. Maybe a little. They were together for years. They have history. And you and Ethan have what? A few weeks? Lisa pointed out. Almost 2 months, Maya corrected. Lisa gave her a sympathetic look. Just be careful, sis. Men like Ethan Caldwell don't often end up with women like us. I don't want to see you get hurt. Ethan's different, Maya insisted, though her sister's words echoed her own fears. I hope you're right, Lisa said. For your sake. After helping Lisa get the kids off to school, Maya headed to Tasty Bites for her shift. She tried to focus on work, but her mind kept drifting to Ethan and Victoria. What were they talking about? Was Victoria trying to win him back? And if she was, would Ethan be strong enough to resist? By noon, Maya still hadn't heard from Ethan. She checked her phone obsessively, earning a concerned look from Tony. Waiting for a call? He asked, as she prepared for the lunch deliveries. Yeah, Maya admitted. Ethan was supposed to call after. A meeting this morning, Tony nodded knowingly. The ex is back in town, huh? Maya looked up, surprised. How did you know? Tony handed her a tablet open to a gossip website. The headline read, Reconciliation? Ethan Caldwell spotted with former fiancée. Below was a photo of Ethan and Victoria sitting at an outdoor cafe. Victoria was leaning forward, her hand touching Ethan's arm, while his expression was unreadable. Maya's heart sank. It's not what it looks like, she said, though she wasn't entirely convinced herself. "I hope not," Tony said gently. "You deserve better than to be someone's second choice." Maya tucked the tablet away and focused on loading her delivery orders. She wouldn't jump to conclusions. Ethan had promised to call and she trusted him, but as the afternoon wore on with still no word from him, Maya's confidence began to waver. By the end of her shift at 6, she was a bundle of nerves. "Go home," Tony suggested. "You're no good to me like this." Maya nodded gratefully and headed to her apartment. As she climbed the stairs, she could hear her phone ringing in her bag. She fumbled to answer it, heart racing when she saw Ethan's name. "Hello," she answered breathlessly. "Maya," Ethan's voice sounded strained. "I'm so sorry I didn't call earlier. It's been a crazy day." "I saw the photo," Maya said, unlocking her apartment door. "You and Victoria." There was a pause before Ethan spoke. "Can I come over? I'd rather talk about this in person." Maya's stomach tightened with dread. "Just tell me now, Ethan, are you getting back together with her?" "What?" "No." Ethan sounded genuinely shocked. "Maya, no, that's not it at all." "Then what is it?" Maya pressed, closing her apartment door behind her. "Why did you need to see me in person?" Ethan sighed heavily. "Because Victoria is pregnant, and she's claiming the baby is mine." Maya felt like the floor had dropped out from under her. She sank onto her sofa, clutching the phone tightly. "Maya, are you still there?" Ethan's voice sounded distant. "I'm here," she managed to say. Is it yours?" "I don't know," Ethan admitted. The timing could work. We were together until the wedding. Maya closed her eyes, trying to process this bombshell. "What does she want from you?" "Money, support, a relationship," Ethan said. "She claims she made a mistake, leaving. Me that she panicked about the commitment. She wants us to try again for the baby's sake." The words hit Maya like physical blows. "And what do you want?" "You," Ethan said without hesitation. "I want you, Maya. Nothing has changed for me, but everything had changed, and they both knew it. If the baby was Ethan's, he would be tied to Victoria forever." "I need to think," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, can I come over? We should talk about this face to face." "Not tonight," Maya said. "I need some space to process this." "I understand," Ethan said, though he sounded disappointed. "But Maya, please believe me. You're the one I want to be with. We'll figure this out together." After they hung up, Maya sat in her small apartment, feeling more alone than ever. If Victoria was telling the truth, if she really was carrying Ethan's child, how could Maya possibly compete with that? She had always feared she didn't belong in Ethan's world, and now Victoria had the ultimate connection to him, a child. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. "I love you, Maya. No matter what happens with Victoria, that won't change. Please, don't give up on us." Maya stared at the message, tears filling her eyes. She wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that their relationship was strong enough to weather this storm, but the reality of the situation was overwhelming. A baby changed everything, and Maya wasn't sure there was room for her in Ethan's life anymore. 3 days had passed since Ethan's bombshell about Victoria's pregnancy, and Maya had barely slept. She'd called in sick to work, ignored most of Ethan's texts, and spent hours staring at her ceiling, trying to figure out what to do. Lisa had come over with groceries and concern, sitting with Maya as she cried. "You need to talk to him," Lisa had advised. "Hiding won't solve anything." Maya knew her sister was right, but fear kept her locked in her apartment. If she saw Ethan, if she looked into those eyes, she might agree to anything, even being second in his life to Victoria and their baby. On the 4th day, a knock at her door startled Maya from her thoughts. She'd been sketching mindlessly. Her art supplies spread across her small kitchen table, a gift from Ethan that she'd been using more in the past few days than ever before. Assuming it was Lisa again, Maya opened the door without checking, only to find James, Ethan's best friend, standing in her hallway. "James?" Maya said, surprised. "What are you doing here?" "Ethan doesn't know I'm here," James said quickly. "May I come in?" Hesitantly, Maya stepped aside, allowing him into her apartment. James looked around, his designer clothes and polished, appearance somehow not as out of place as they should have been in her modest home. "Nice place," he said, and she could tell he meant it. "Thanks," she replied, closing the door, "but I doubt you came here to admire my decorating skills." James smiled slightly. "No, I didn't." His expression turned serious. "I'm worried about Ethan. He's a mess, Maya. He thinks he's lost you." Maya crossed her arms protectively over her chest. "He told you about Victoria?" "Yes," James confirmed, "and I've known Victoria a lot longer than you have. I think there's something you should know." Maya gestured for him to sit on her sofa, while she took the armchair across from him. "Victoria has always been calculating," James began. "She and Ethan were together because it made sense on paper, both from wealthy families, both moving in the same social circles. But she never loved him the way he deserved." "Why are you telling me this?" Maya asked. "Because I don't believe her," James said bluntly. "About the baby, or at least about it being Ethan's." Maya's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" "Victoria disappeared for 3 months after leaving Ethan at the altar. No one knew where she went. Then suddenly she's back, claiming she's pregnant with his child." James shook his head. "The timing is too convenient." "Convenient how?" Maya asked. "Ethan's company just secured the downtown development project, a $2 billion deal. It's been all over the business news," James explained. "Victoria's family's business, on the other hand, is struggling. Her father's investment firm lost a major client last month. They're in trouble, financially speaking." Maya considered this information. "You think she's lying about the baby being Ethan's?" "I think it's possible," James said carefully. "But even if the baby is his, you should know that Ethan hasn't stopped talking about you since you met. I've never seen him like this with anyone, not even Victoria." Maya looked down at her hands. "A baby changes everything, James." "Only if you let it," James replied. "Ethan wants to be with you, Maya. He'd be there for his child, of course, but that doesn't mean he has to be with Victoria." "You make it sound so simple," Maya said. "It's not simple," James acknowledged. "But sometimes the right choice isn't the easy one." He stood to leave. "Just talk to him, Maya, that's all I'm asking." After James left, Maya sat alone in her apartment, thinking about everything he'd said. Was Victoria lying? And even if she wasn't, could Maya accept a future where Ethan's ex would always be part of their lives? Her phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. "I miss you. Please, just let me know you're okay." After days of minimal responses, Maya finally replied, "Can you come over tomorrow morning? We need to talk." His response was immediate. "I'll be there at 9. The next morning, Maya woke early and cleaned her apartment, more out of nervousness than necessity. At precisely 9 o'clock, there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find Ethan looking exhausted with dark circles under his eyes and his usual perfectly styled hair somewhat disheveled. Still, the sight of him made her heart ache with longing. "Maya." He said her name like a prayer. "Thank you for seeing me." She stepped aside to let him in, keeping a careful distance between them. "You look tired." "I haven't been sleeping well," he admitted. They sat at her small kitchen table, the sketchbook she'd been working on pushed to one side. "James came to see me yesterday," Maya said, deciding to be direct. Ethan looked surprised. "He did?" "I didn't." "No." "He thinks Victoria might be lying about the baby being yours," Maya continued. "Is that possible?" Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "Honestly, I don't know. The timing could work, but—" He hesitated. "I've thought the same thing. It's too coincidental that she shows up right when my company secures the downtown project." "Have you asked her for a paternity test?" Maya asked. "Yes," Ethan nodded. "She got angry, accused me of not trusting her, said we'd have to wait until—" "The baby is born now," Maya raised an eyebrow. "That seems suspicious." "It does," Ethan agreed. "But Maya, even if the baby is mine, it doesn't change how I feel about you." Maya took a deep breath. "It changes everything, Ethan. If you're going to be a father, you'll be connected to Victoria forever." "Being connected doesn't mean being together." Ethan insisted. "I would support my child, be part of its life, but that doesn't mean I have to be with Victoria." "And what about your family? Your Aunt Patricia? Would they accept me as your partner while Victoria is carrying your child? Maya asked. Ethan reached across the table, taking her hand. I don't care what they think, I only care about you. The warmth of his hand against hers weakened Maya's resolve. She'd missed him desperately these past few days. I'm scared, Ethan, she admitted. Scared that I'll never really fit into your world. Scared that someday you'll realize you made a mistake choosing me over someone like Victoria. That will never happen, Ethan said firmly. Maya, when Victoria left me at the altar, I thought my life was over. I felt humiliated, worthless. But now I see it was the best thing that could have happened to me. If she hadn't left, I never would have met you that night in the rain. Maya looked into his eyes, seeing the sincerity there. What do we do now? First, we find out if the baby is really mine, Ethan said. I've hired an investigator to look into where Victoria was during those 3 months she disappeared. And I'm insisting on a prenatal paternity test. And if it is yours, Maya asked. Then I'll be the best father I can be, Ethan said. But I'll also be the man who loves you if you'll let me. Maya felt tears welling in her eyes. I've never felt this way about anyone before. It terrifies me. Ethan stood and moved around the table, kneeling beside her chair. It terrifies me too. But not being with you terrifies me more. He took both her hands in his. I love you, Maya Bennett. I love your kind heart, your strength, the way you care for your family. I love that you gave your umbrella to a stranger in the rain. I love watching you draw, seeing your face light up when you talk about art. I love that you don't care about my money or my status. Maya's tears flowed freely now. I love you too, she whispered. Ethan pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly, as if afraid she might disappear. Then, we'll face whatever comes together. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of emotions and revelations. Victoria reluctantly agreed to a prenatal paternity test after Ethan's lawyer got involved. The results wouldn't be available for another week, but Ethan's private investigator had already uncovered some interesting information. Victoria was in Miami for those 3 months, Ethan told Maya as they sat on his balcony one evening, staying at the beach house of her yoga instructor, the same man she'd been seeing before our wedding. Maya squeezed his hand. So, James might be right? We'll know for sure soon, Ethan said, but regardless of what the test shows, I want you to know something. He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket, and Maya's heart nearly stopped. Ethan, she breathed, what are you doing? I'm not proposing, he said quickly, opening the box to reveal a delicate silver key. Not yet, anyway. This is a key to my apartment. I want you to move in with me, Maya. Maya stared at the key, her mind racing. Ethan, I don't know. Hear me out, he said. I know it's a big step, but these past weeks have shown me that I can't imagine my life without you in it. I want to fall asleep next to you every night and wake up with you every morning. What about my sister, the kids? I help them so much, Maya protested. Lisa and the kids can visit whenever they want, Ethan assured her. There's plenty of room. And if you're worried about the commute to Tasty Bites, I understand. You don't have to answer right now. Maya took the key, turning it over in her fingers. It's not just the practical concerns, Ethan. It's your world is so different from mine. I'm still not sure I belong in it. You belong with me, Ethan said simply. The rest doesn't matter. Before Maya could respond, Ethan's phone rang. He checked the screen and frowned. It's my lawyer. He answered the call, listening intently. Maya watched as his expression changed from concern to shock to relief. Thank you, he said finally. Yes, I understand. Keep me updated. He hung up and turned to Maya, a smile spreading across his face. The lab expedited the paternity test. The baby isn't mine, Maya. It's not my child. Maya felt a wave of relief wash over her, followed immediately by guilt for feeling relieved. Are you okay? I'm better than okay, Ethan said. I'm free. We're free. What will happen to Victoria? Maya asked. According to my lawyer, she's already left town again. I doubt we'll hear from her anytime soon, Ethan said. But honestly, I don't care about Victoria anymore. I only care about us, about our future. Maya looked down at the key in her hand, then back at Ethan. Ask me again, she said softly. Ethan took her hands in his. Maya Bennett, will you move in with me? Will you let me show you every day how much I love you? Maya smiled through happy tears. Yes, she said. Yes to all of. 2 months later, Maya stood in what was now their bedroom, packing the last of her clothes from her old apartment. She'd finally given notice to Mrs. Chen, who had tearfully hugged her and made her promise to visit. Ethan came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. Need any help? I think I've got it, she said, leaning back against his chest. It's not like I had that much stuff. Have you heard from Lisa about tomorrow night? Ethan asked. Maya nodded. She and the kids will be here at 6. She's still nervous about meeting your Aunt Patricia. So am I, Ethan admitted with a laugh. But it's time. All the important people in my life should know each other. After Victoria's deception had been revealed, Ethan had finally told his aunt about Maya. To everyone's surprise, Patricia had requested a meeting, insisting on hosting a family dinner. What if she hates me? Maya asked, voicing her deepest fear. She won't, Ethan assured her. But even if she does, it doesn't change anything between us. Maya turned in his arms to face him. I never thought this would happen to me, she said. Finding someone like you, being this happy. I'm the lucky one, Ethan insisted. If Victoria hadn't left me at the altar, if it hadn't rained that night, if you hadn't been making deliveries in that neighborhood. A lot of coincidences, Maya agreed. Or fate, Ethan suggested. Maybe we were always meant to find each other. The next evening, Maya stood nervously in the foyer of Patricia Caldwell's elegant townhouse. Lisa and her children waited beside her, all dressed in their best clothes. Ethan squeezed her hand reassuringly as the door opened. Patricia Caldwell was a tall, elegant woman in her 70s, with silver hair swept into a perfect chignon and piercing blue eyes that reminded Maya of Ethan's. Aunt Patricia, Ethan said, stepping forward to kiss her cheek. Thank you for hosting us. I'd like you to meet Maya Bennett, her sister Lisa, and Lisa's children, Emma and Jack. Patricia studied Maya with an appraising gaze that made Maya want to fidget. Instead, she stood, tall, and met the older woman's eyes. So, Patricia said finally, you're the delivery girl who stole my nephew's heart. Aunt Patricia, Ethan warned. But to everyone's surprise, Patricia smiled. It's about time, she said. Victoria was never right for you, Ethan. Too concerned. With appearances, not enough substance. She turned to Maya. Do you love my nephew, Miss Bennett? Yes, Maya said without hesitation. Very much. Patricia nodded, satisfied. Good. Now come in, all of you. Dinner is getting cold. As they followed Patricia into the dining room, Ethan leaned close to Maya's ear. See? Nothing to worry about. The dinner was surprisingly pleasant. Patricia was charming with Lisa's children, showing them her collection of antique music boxes. She asked Maya intelligent questions about her art, showing genuine interest when Maya mentioned she was considering taking graphic design classes again. After dessert, while Lisa was helping the children get their coats, Patricia took Maya aside. I want to show you something, she said, leading Maya to a small study off the main hallway. Inside, the walls were covered with beautiful paintings, landscapes, portraits, still lifes. These are amazing, Maya said, admiring the artwork. My sister, Ethan's grandmother, painted them, Patricia explained. She was an artist, like you. She never got to pursue it professionally. In those days, women of our social standing had limited options, but she painted every day of her life. Maya was touched by this connection to Ethan's past. He told me how much he loved her. She raised him to value what truly matters, Patricia said. Not money or status, but kindness, integrity, love. She turned to Maya with a surprisingly gentle expression. I see those qualities in you, Maya. You make him happy in a way Victoria never did. Thank you, Maya said, genuinely moved. That means a lot to me. He'll need your strength in the years to come, Patricia continued. The business world can be cold and calculating. He needs someone to remind him of what's real. I'll try, Maya promised. Patricia smiled. I believe you. Will, she took Maya's hand. Welcome to the family, my dear. Later that night, as Maya and Ethan walked along the river near their apartment building, Maya told him about her conversation with Patricia. She showed me your grandmother's paintings, Maya said. They're beautiful. She would have loved you, Ethan said, just like Aunt Patricia does. Maya laughed. I wouldn't go that far. I would, Ethan insisted. She invited you to her charity gala next month. She's never invited anyone I've dated before, not even Victoria. They stopped at a bench overlooking the water, the city lights reflecting on its surface like stars. Ethan seemed suddenly nervous. What is it? Maya asked. I was going to wait, he said. I had this whole plan, dinner at that little diner where we had our first real conversation. But right now, with you looking so beautiful, with everything finally falling into place. He dropped to one knee and Maya's heart began racing. I'm not doing this because of Aunt Patricia's approval, or because we live together now, Ethan said, taking a small box from his pocket. I'm doing this because meeting you that night in the rain was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I can't imagine spending a single day without you for the rest of my life. He opened the box to reveal a beautiful but modest diamond ring. Maya Bennett, will you marry me? Maya's eyes filled with tears of joy. This man, this kind, loving man, who had crossed social boundaries and faced scandal to be with her, was offering her his heart, his name, his future. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Ethan slipped the ring onto her finger, then stood and pulled her into his arms, kissing her deeply. When they finally broke apart, Maya rested her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. You know, she said thoughtfully, we should probably invite Mrs. Abernathy to the wedding. Ethan looked confused. Who? The woman whose chicken parmesan you knocked out of my hands the night we met, Maya explained with a laugh. If it weren't for her dinner getting ruined, we might never have spoken. Ethan joined in her laughter. Absolutely, she'll have a place of honor. As they walked home hand in hand, Maya thought about how much her life had changed in just a few months. From a chance encounter in the rain to a love that crossed social divides, their story had been anything but ordinary. What are you thinking about? Ethan asked, noticing her thoughtful expression. Maya smiled up at him. I was just thinking that sometimes the wrong turn leads exactly where you need to go. Ethan squeezed her hand. And sometimes getting caught in the rain is the luckiest thing that can happen to you. As they reached their building, Maya paused to look up at the night sky. Stars were visible despite the city lights, reminding her that even in the darkest moments, beauty was always present. If you knew where to look, Ethan had been that light for her, unexpected and bright. And now their future stretched before them like an open road, full of possibility and promise. Maya had spent years delivering food to strangers, never imagining that one rainy night she would deliver much more than that to a man in a soggy tuxedo. She had delivered kindness, understanding, and ultimately love, and in return, Ethan had delivered her heart back to her, stronger and more complete than ever before.